News, stepping out of her comfort zone, weighing in on politics. The pop star has always been quiet about her beliefs in the past, but that changed last night in an Instagram post where she endorsed Democrat Phil Bredston in the Tennessee Senate race and Democrat Jim Cooper for House of Representatives. She wrote this in part: "I believe in the fight for LGBTQ rights and that any form of discrimination based on sexual orientation or gender is wrong. I believe that the systemic racism we still see in this country towards people of color is terrifying, sickening, and prevalent. As much as I have in the past and would like to continue voting for women in office, I cannot support Marsha Blackburn. Her voting record in Congress appalls and terrifies me." With that swipe, Swift now joins the likes of Kanye West in having bad blood with fans over their political stances. Let's go to Joel Ebert, a political reporter for the Tennessean, and David Litt, former speechwriter for President Obama. And guys, Joel, I want to go to you in Tennessee. I mean, how is this playing? And again, keeping in mind, this is a place where the president recently campaigned and essentially said a vote for Marsha is a vote for me. Can Taylor Swift compete with that?
Well, the president is extremely popular here. The polling suggests that he still remains very popular in Tennessee. At the same time, Marsha Blackburn's demographic is probably not going to be Taylor Swift's audience. So I think what Taylor Swift is trying to do is get young voters to get really energized. And for two candidates that are, one is over 60, the other over 70, meaning Bredesen, this is really her effort to really get young voters out there to see Bredesen for her support for him.
Bredesen. David, and I loved your note to my producer, so I'm just going to read it out loud. Full transparency, there was a time when you were at the White House, you actually, it's my understanding, had to drive 4 staffers to a Taylor Swift concert very quickly, so we understand where your bias is, just so we're all clear. But, I think about 2016 and all the star power behind Hillary Clinton. Where did that get her?
Well, Brooke, first of all, I do need to give a shout out to the other 3 former Obama staffers. We were on Air Force One trying to get back, had to jump in the car, make it to the stadium for the huge concert, so I feel like this is coming full circle. But I think the important thing right now, when you think about the midterm elections versus a presidential election, in a presidential election, young voters turn out at lower rates than older voters, but not appallingly lower. In midterm elections, young voters tend to basically not turn out at all. So if you can get young voters who already show up in presidential years in 2016 to decide, oh yeah, actually I'm also going to show up in 2018 in a midterm year, that's a game changer.
Do you think, Joel, over to you in Tennessee, I mean, how difficult will it be getting young voters out, young voters during midterms? Are they even listening?
I think they're certainly listening. Bredesen has really tried to tout some of the young voters. He had a concert, a fundraiser recently with Jason Isbell, who is a renowned country artist here in Nashville. Got a lot of young supporters out there for it. So I think what he's trying to do is educate the young voters who weren't around when he was governor, 8 years ago. So he needs to get them energetic. And in this razor-thin margin, this race is neck and neck right now. Some polling suggests Blackburn is up slightly, 5 points or so. It's going to take, anything that could swing it in one direction or the other.
Do you think, David, I don't know how many people care more about Taylor Swift versus, the outcome of these elections, but could Taylor Swift just have blowback? You saw what happened with, how many years ago was the whole Dixie Chicks thing?
Well, I do feel like you had the Republican Senate campaign committee try to pull a Kanye, get her quiet as soon as possible. But I think that the important thing here to remember is 112 million. That's how many Instagram followers Taylor Swift has. So that ability to bypass the traditional back and forth, to not have to put out a press release and have it criticized and taken out of context, but to speak directly to 112 million fans, that's a huge difference. And we're seeing that throughout politics these days. If you can talk directly to the voters, it makes an enormous impact.
And that we are talking about Taylor Swift and Kanye West in politics. That's some crazy full circle moment, too. I'm Joel Ebert and David Litt. Guys, thank you so very much on All Things Tennessee. Minutes from now, the NTSB will hold a news conference about that.